Hello, Pepperell Elementary families, and any other school that might need to use this. My name is Zach Mendence, and I'm here today to go over Google Slides. The reason behind this is we are actually doing a Civil War slideshow in my classroom, and I noticed that my students, for whatever reason, are having trouble with the tools. They don't know how to jazz up their PowerPoints, and I thought it'd be a good idea to make a tutorial for them to show them how to do this. However, I realized quickly too that this should go out to everybody because a lot of students are using these during digital learning. And not only that, but since we all have a lot of time on our hands, we can use it not only just for school stuff, we can use it on projects, we can use it on doing like a family album type thing. You can use it as a gift to somebody. Like there's all kinds of cool things that you can do with slides. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and show you. I started out on my Gmail on purpose because it's my Gmail's got my apps over here. I call it the waffle. Just an easy, quick way to get to Google Slides. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Slides. And as it's loading, the first thing I'm going to see over here is a little plus sign, blank, and it says start a new presentation. And there's other presentations you can do, but I like to click on blank and start my own. Okay, and as this is loading up, the first thing I'm always tell my kids to do is to go up to where it says Untitled Presentation and title it. If you only ever do one PowerPoint slide, it's not necessary. But if you're doing multiple PowerPoint slides, you want to make sure you name them so you know how to find yours. So I'm going to go ahead and, since we're working on Civil War, I'm going to go ahead and title it Civil War. And I'm going to click out of it. Now, first thing I notice over here is my themes. Now, a lot of people use themes. And what's going to happen is whatever you click on is going to turn that slide into that theme. Now, I'm not a big fan of themes. I like to create my own backgrounds. I will tell you this, that if you do create a theme and you want to go back and do a background, if you put the background over the theme, it will not turn out right. There'll be something that will be messed up in it. And the only way to fix that is go back to your white theme. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that to show you later how to do your backgrounds. And I'm going to click out of this since I'm not using themes. Okay, let me go ahead and go over the tools with you real quick that I use and that you'll probably need for this tutorial. Of course, the more you play with these tools, the better you get at stuff. I've actually had students teach me things that I had no idea how to do them. I'm not afraid to admit that. It's just a comfortability factor, you getting better at it. So right here it says new slide. So every time you click on the plus slide, you're adding more slides. If you're not happy, you actually click too many, you can click undo and it will get rid of it. You can also click redo and it will bring it back. Those are for any time you mess up. Those buttons will save your life. Okay. Right here is the text box. Now there's already some text box in here. If you want to make one, you click on text box. And what you do is you hold your mouse and then you can make it as wide, fat, skinny as you want it. And then if you let it go, it creates a box. If you didn't mean to make it or you want to get rid of a box, what I always do is I click up here, actually on the box, and push delete, and it will get rid of the box for me. Okay. Right here is a quick button to insert pictures. And my favorite is to go to search the web to find things. Although sometimes the options are limited, so you could always go here, push plus, type in an image, go to your images, and you can actually copy an image from here and then go back to your slides and paste it in right here. Okay. All right, moving on. There's shapes that you can add. This is really neat. One of my favorites is the call outs because what you can do is you can put thought bubbles. So let's say you have a character like Abraham Lincoln or something. You can actually make a thought bubble and then you can type in the thought bubble what he's thinking. It's pretty neat. Okay. There's also shapes. There's all kinds of things. There's arrows, so you might want to point at something to get people to pay attention to it. We go over here. You can select lines and connect things to each other. Okay. All right. Now we go to my favorite right here, background. This is where this starts getting cool, and this is where kids are like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do that." So I'm going to choose image, and like I said, I'm working on the Civil War, so I'm going to go over to Google Image Search, and I'm going to type in Civil War. And I think this image is really cool. So I want to click it and I want to insert it. Click done. And you got to wait for a second and then maybe wait for a couple more seconds and then and you're like, wow, that is so cool. Okay. Now, one of the issues is once you start learning how to do backgrounds, kids have trouble with their writing. Okay. So I'm going to type in Civil War. And if I look at this and I say, okay, I'm giving a report, my teacher, fellow students are going to really have a really hard time reading that. So how do I fix that? One of the ways to fix it is to go up here to your paint can. I call it your paint can. And you select a color. And what it's going to do is it's going to make that text box all one color. So let's say I want yellow. And then all of a sudden, my writing is very easy to see. Now, it does get rid of some of your picture. And what you can do to save that is you can make the box smaller. And then you can also move the box. And I can move the box with the 4 arrows again. That's how I know I can move it to where it's out of my picture's way and I can see what I want. Okay. Now what's even cooler, let me click back on the text box. I'm going to highlight the word Civil War. I don't like that font. So I can actually come over here and I can change it. I want cursive. I want my teacher to see fancy. Okay. I do love that, except it's not big enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and make it bigger. Oh, that's cool. And so I'm starting to like what I'm coming up with. And you can kind of play around with this. Okay. Now, after that is done, what you can do now, and this is the really neat part, a lot of kids don't know about this, is you can go in here to View and click on Animations. And right over here, some animations come. I'm going to go to Add Animation. And since I highlighted Civil War, let me go ahead and do that. Highlight Civil War. That's telling me that I want some kind of animation on Civil War. So you have a bunch of options here. Okay, let's say I like zoom in. And so I can make it on click, or I can make it when a slide pulls up. I always like to control it, so I do it on click. And I like to slow it down a little bit so it's not too fast and not eye-catching enough for people to look at. And then I can test it out by pushing play. But what I want to do too is you can actually add multiple animations for that particular writing that I chose. So I'm going to put add animation, and notice it's up here again. And I want it to zoom out after zooming in. And I'm going to slow it down again. And like I said, you can play around this a lot. You could put like 20 animations in here if you want to. You just don't want to do too many because then it kind of slows your slideshow down. But then your play button is going to be your way of kind of looking at it. And so the first thing I notice is like, hey, it's not working. What happened? Well, remember I pushed click on click for the animation to work. So I'm going to click, and all of a sudden, it pops up. If I click back, boom, it disappears like it was never there to begin with. Now let's say I say, hey, you know what? I don't like it disappearing. I want it to stay there. You can actually click on the X, and it gets rid of, well, I say it gets rid of. Oh, let me stop it and then do it. Okay, there we go. See, teachers mess up too. And so now it only has that one. Okay? Now, I'm not going to take all your time today. So what I'm going to show you now is a couple other things, and then I'm going to let you play from there. I will tell you this. I had one student one time, and it looked like a fireworks show on her slide. But what she did was she put multiple pictures on the slides. She zoomed in and then zoomed out every single picture in a row animation. And at the very end, she had a text box that she had roll up, and it was like picture, 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 thank you, the end. And it was the coolest thing. And that just goes to show you that even students that play with it enough can teach adults how to do it. But there's a lot of different things you can do with this. But I'm going to go ahead and right now, we're going to go to pictures, search the web. And like I said, you can search for anything you want to. Let's say I wanted to find a picture on Abraham Lincoln, and it's already kind of found him. And I'll say I like that picture, so I'm going to insert that one. Okay, picture's way too big. So I'm going to get that little diagonal arrow, hold it, and then I'm going to control it by scrolling down. And I made it as small as I want. And remember, what I need is the 4 arrows in order to move it where I want. Okay? Now let's say I want to insert a video about Abraham Lincoln. So you can actually do it by URL, Google Drive if you already have the video, but YouTube, let's say we'll go Abraham Lincoln for kids. And they have descriptions about him. And, we have a children's read aloud, Abraham Lincoln. We have a biography of music and facts. I like that one. So I'm going to select that one. And boom, it's popped up in my videos. So now I have the ability now to show a video on Abraham Lincoln when that slide pulls up. Okay? Once again, if you want to, you can animate a slide. So I clicked on this, and you notice over here too, you can add animation. So I can actually do something with Abraham Lincoln's picture. Let's say I want to spin him. I want to do it fast. So here we go, and we're going to just test it out to see what it looks like. Remember, it has to be on click again. And there you go. So pretty neat. Like I said, the more you play with this, the better you get at it. Okay? All right. Another thing I can do, and this took me a while to figure out, and this is kind of my final step for you, and then I'm going to leave you with doing whatever you want to as far as the tools and jazzing up your slides. Right over here it says slide, but it says no transition. You're like, well, wait a minute, I already did transitions. No, you did animations. The transitions are from one slide to another. So what you can do is you can click on the button that says no transitions, and you can actually click on one of the transitions. And one of my favorites to do is the cube. All right. And I'm going to click play. A lot of times it won't show you the cube from here. Okay. So what I need to do is every once in a while I need to test out my slides. And the only way to do that, to see how it looks, is I can present it. So your present is going to put it in screen form like you're doing a project. And you go right here into present form. And what I wanted to show you is, what does cube look like? Because we hadn't seen it yet. And there's my Civil War popping in and popping out. I actually got rid of the pop out. And there's my spin. Now, for whatever reason, it did not do the cube like I wanted to. So I had to figure out, well, what happened? So it says no transitions again. This is a common mistake that people make. So when I click cube, what I realize is I did not apply it to all slides. That means that from one slide to the other, it doesn't do cube. So I'm going to click on apply all slides. Now when I go to present, let me go back to my first slide. I'm going to click this to go next, and oh my gosh, it went right to the slides. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you is, let me click on the Abraham Lincoln video. And what's really cool is, from here, you can actually make it full screen.
President Abraham Lincoln thought slavery was wrong. He fought a war.
And you can back away and say, hey,
together
students, watch this.
and
This
to
is
make
great
it
from our
free
report.
forever.
So there's a lot of cool things you can do with this. I just wanted to kind of show you some of the tools that you can work with. I hope you enjoyed this little bit tutorial, and feel free to message me, email me, to let me know of anything else cool that you know of that I might have looked over or missed. Once again, Pepperell families, I hope you're doing great. I hope your families are safe. I hope you're making the most out of your family time. And once again, this is Zach Menens signing out. I'll see you later.